So, James, give me a little bit of background on yourself. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What's your family like? Some background.
My name is James Garriga. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi. I currently go to Loyola University in New Orleans. And I don't want to talk about my family.
Heard. All right. No reason to go there. What made you want to do Doordash? What is there? Yeah, specific reason?
I really wanted just some quick change that wouldn't require a regimented schedule. I wanted to be able to do it on my own time.
Okay. You want to do on your own time? Did you have another job while you were doing Doordash, or was it just Doordash in school or whatever you were doing at the time?
I guess I sort of had another job because, when you're trying to work in the film and television industry, you're always just working gig to gig
Yeah.
when you're starting out.
Yeah.
So that was the thing, was I didn't have the time to pick up a real job because you never know when you might just want to work a gig
Yeah.
or have one that comes up. But I definitely wasn't working gigs consistently enough to have enough money. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd fill my time door dashing.
Yeah. Was it like a good amount of money? Like, could you not live comfortably, but like live like, if you did it enough, do you think you could pay your bills, pay everything, pay your phone bill, pay your house bill? Like,
Not reasonably.
no.
No. I mean, if you really, really put the work in, like
Yeah.
start at 9 a.m. and finish 9 p.m., maybe.
Yeah.
But the thing is DoorDash prices are so volatile. You never know exactly what the price is going to be, what the fee you're going to get paid. Sometimes they do extra if it's busy or if it's later and they have less drivers. It's so random and it pays so very little because it depends so much on the tips you get. And people are terrible at tipping.
Yeah. So tips are a big thing. It's like you're either not gonna make anything for a delivery or like make it $5. Like, what was like the average like? So let's say you DoorDash for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Could you like have an estimate, or was it always just up and down,
Totally up and down.
up and down?
There are three really important factors when it comes into door dashing, which is where you are, because where you decide to place yourself and just kind of, drive around in an area is where you're going to get orders from.
Yeah.
They're not going to send you to the McDonald's on Carrollton if you're over on Napoleon.
Yeah.
And another important thing is where they order from. So, if you're getting a McDonald's order, it's $8 for that order. They're not going to give you that full 8.
Yeah.
Unless you're, suddenly going to Mikimoto, and that's a totally different order. And then, yeah, of course, how much they tip.
Yeah. So you wouldn't say like, if there was nothing else, like you had no other job, you wouldn't. Would you say like you would have financial security if you were just straight door dashing all the time and maybe Uber driving, and you think someone could live off of that?
I mean, potentially, yeah. You would have to be very dedicated.
Yeah.
You would always still run the risk of not having things go your way, not getting the orders you want, not getting the tips you want.
Yeah.
You're really at the mercy of the people ordering from DoorDash or, ordering the Ubers.
Yeah.
But you would have to work very unreasonable hours. You'd have to work very hard. At that point, it would just be more worth it to go find a stable minimum wage job.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. What are like some of the best things for DoorDash when you're doing it, when you did it, or like the positives?
The one positive is that you have full authority to do whatever you want. You only sign up to start dashing when you want to. You only take the orders you want to. You can reject an order. You can say, no, I don't want this order, or I don't feel comfortable going to that area, or whatever.
Yeah.
You have complete control. But that's the thing is, you have to engage the system to make money, so you can only be so picky.
Yeah. So whenever an order comes through to your phone, you're able to see like how far away it is and how much you're gonna get paid for it without the tip. So there's no tip already added in it. You find that out after you deliver it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's 2 steps. There's the accepting the order, which just shows you where the order is.
Okay.
And how much the order is worth.
Yeah.
So you get that base pay. But of course you don't know the tip. You don't know where you're going. Once you accept the order, then you know where you're going. And at that point, you can still cancel.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because I feel like someone could send an order and it's like right by you, but then they live like 15 miles away, and it's like
right.
almost not even worth the $3 you're gonna get to deliver out there. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. I think that's what DoorDash is hoping, is that by the time you've already accepted the order, you're like, well, I'll go anywhere. Just
Yeah.
give me that money you just promised to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do withhold that information until the second step, just to make sure, try and really encourage you to go after it.
Yeah. So like worst things about the job. Some of the worst things.
I was really looking forward to not having to interact with people.
Yeah.
I was really hoping. Another thing that I just love the idea of is I just have to respond to me. I can sit in my car, sing along to my music, do whatever I wanted, drop it off at the doorstep. But 9 times out of 10, the person wants you to hand it to them. They have some apartment they're worried about it getting lost in, or they just don't trust the delivery service, and they want you to put it in their hands. And when that happens, you end up talking to people, and I hate that. I don't want to talk to people. The whole point of the DoorDash was just to
Go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Quick, easy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Does anything like weird ever happen when you're DoorDashing? Like unusual shit? Like, yeah.
I'm trying to think. Unusual. I mean, the only thing unusual that I notice is just how frustrated local businesses are with apps like DoorDash.
Yeah.
Like when you go to McDonald's to pick up a DoorDash order, they're not happy to see you. And they're not making any money off your order either. No. Just McDonald's.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe not unusual, but just it's so interesting showing up as a DoorDasher to an established restaurant that's happy to just fill out another large order versus you go to a fast food place and they're just so unhappy to see you.
So for the smaller businesses, DoorDash is really helpful, and then McDonald's and stuff like that, they're already making enough money, or people who work there aren't as motivated probably, and
and
there's extra work at that
exactly.
point.
It just puts money in the chain's pocket.
Yeah.
So if you care about your chain, if you're a small business that wants their business to do well, they care. But if you're a minimum wage employee, doesn't, then DoorDash is just another pain.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you drove. How much did you drive? Was it hours on end, or was it kind of a couple hours a day, or?
I would try to aim for 3 or 4 hours, and I would try and do that twice a day.
Yeah.
When I started, it was in between school years.
Okay.
It was over the summer, so I had a lot of time.
Yeah.
And if I had free time and I wasn't doing anything else, I was like, well, I could be DoorDashing, so why not do that?
Yeah. So did you enjoy working out of your car almost? It was you enjoyed driving around, you enjoyed not really having to show up somewhere and clock in, and
Yeah.
It was nice.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
A weird thing for me too is I have to have music wherever I am at. And a business that lets me either control the music or just at least listen to something makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about personal interactions, but those are always weird for you. It was always just just unnecessary almost. Yeah.
I get it if you don't live somewhere with a doorstep that's easily accessible.
Yeah.
But it boggles my mind the people that live in a house and still want to see me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be your friend. We don't need to talk.
You will never see that person again, Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's crazy. So, I mean, dogs. Any crazy dogs that ever get on your nerves? You know how someone rings the doorbell and
Oh yeah, all the time. You can tell
Really?
when someone
All the time?
owns a small dog.
Really?
Yeah, because you knock or ring the doorbell and just immediately starts yapping.
That's funny. All right. Well, how long have you been driving? Not DoorDash, just in general. Did you start driving young? You're from Mississippi, so
Only about a year.
only about a year.
Yeah.
No, like driving, not Doordash.
Oh.
Driving.
Just had a license.
Yeah,
like-
had a license. Was like you started driving when you were 16.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But for DoorDash, it's been about a year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Could you ever see yourself like doing DoorDash for a long period of time, like to where like you weren't really pursuing anything else? You weren't pursuing film. You were just doing DoorDash. Would that ever be something you would want to do?
Only as a last resort,
Last resort.
if I had to.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I'm not aware, but there's no like health insurance. There's no benefits from being a DoorDasher, right?
Nothing.
So the people who are putting in hours on end don't really get anything other than the
Yeah.
yeah.
There's no interview or anything. There's no. You never interact with someone from the DoorDash business. You just, type in your information on that, get an email. If you want the card and the hat and the bag, you give them your address and they'll send it to you. That's it. You never interact with the person.
Yeah. So a big thing is like saving for the future. Everyone needs to be saving. Was DoorDash? Do you think it paid enough to actually like put money away, or was it kind of just like to get you through the next month, like get you through that week, get you through the day, like that was it?
Absolutely. Just to get me through the next month.
Yeah.
I mean, a really frugal person who's really dedicated, could probably do this, but I genuinely feel like anybody that's getting on those apps is doing it to have money they can burn immediately.
Yeah. Very true. What do you think DoorDash will look like in 10 years? Because as of now, there's already like little robots in like college campuses that are like driving around with food. Do you think in 10 years then it's going to be like, automation or something like that? Or
I mean, who knows? The thing that surprised me so much about DoorDash was, people will choose convenience over anything, but really the love for the convenience of it. Like people would order like Walgreens. They would order like a pint of ice cream and a gallon of milk from Walgreens. And that blows my mind.
It's crazy.
Like getting orders like that would shock me. I was like,
and
I'm sure you had some point in your day.
With Walgreens, did you like walk into Walgreens and like pick it out? Really?
Yeah, so that's when you have to use the card. So if you want to do even more orders and like get a more expensive order, like someone doing a grocery run, you got to have that red card.
And that red card, so whenever you accept an order that's like that, it kind of activates the red card for the amount of money that they...
Exactly. It's tied to your account.
Okay.
And the minute you're accepting an order where you'll need to use it, it's active. So you can go use it, swipe it up.
So you can never use it just to swipe it. You can never just go into a Walgreens right now and buy something.
I've never tried it, but I would imagine it would not work.
Yeah.
But who knows?
So in 10 years, you don't think cars are going to be driving themselves, delivering people food?
If cars are driving themselves, the first thing they're going to be doing is delivering orders.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
Literally.
going to happen.
Yeah. For
Because
sure.
it's the DoorDash is so appealing because of the convenience.
Yeah.
I honestly, now having done DoorDash, order DoorDash less.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel bad about myself. Because now I see what the other end looks like. But yeah, it's amazing the times I have ordered it when I was fully capable to go out and get food.
Absolutely. Like even like I ordered DoorDash sometimes from McDonald's.
Yeah.
All I have to do is drive 2 blocks down the street and sit in line, but it's just so easy to sit here and do nothing. And that's what's crazy is like people who like, I do that every blue moon, like because no money. But people who are like grown adults and have like full incomes and families, they do it very often, and it's like kind of ruining like calling places and ordering, or like going to pick up, or like actually going and sitting in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Just because literally you're on your phone, tap, 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 and then food's at your door.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's extremely convenient, and it's like the laziest thing you could do.
It's 90% of why I don't want to see my DoorDasher. I don't want to see my DoorDasher when they deliver my order.
Yeah.
I don't want to look them in the eyes and say,
You're
I just paid
embarrassed.
$15 for this Shake Shack I could have gone and picked up in 10 minutes. Like,
Yep.
don't look at me. Drop it at my door, walk away, I'll come out and get it.
Yeah. No, there's literally like it's such a big difference in like how much you pay. So like
Yeah.
if you go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger and some fries, it's probably like what, like $3 or $4.
You're usually close to double what your original order
Yes,
would have
it's
been.
and then on. So I've noticed like McDonald's and just like fast food restaurants, they up their price. Every restaurant up their prices for the ones that are on DoorDash. Then when you go to the establishment, it's like $1 or $2 less.
Mm-hmm.
Just the straight price, not even after all the fees and like
Yeah.
everything.
Because they'll throw in the delivery fee, but then DoorDash wants to get theirs too,
Yeah.
so they'll tack on another fee and then taxes, which they'll take as well, and then, then by the end you're having to figure out tip too,
Yeah.
and you've already, you know,
And at that point, you don't want to tip. At that point, you're already spending way more than you need to. So it's like, oh, $2 or $1, or some people $0. And like,
yeah, it's amazing because I always try and hit the middle one because I'm like, it's the least I can do. I
Yeah.
don't want to tip more than that because
Yeah. It's also like sometimes if you order something big, this is what I've realized. If you order something big, the like little options it gives you will be like $10 or $15 for the tip.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no extra work that the DoorDasher has to do.
Right.
So it's like it's the same action. The person's not working any harder, but they get twice as much in a tip sometimes just because there's more food.
That's the interesting double-edged sword
Yeah.
of DoorDash is as a dasher, Sam, I'm in the opposite position. I'm out, it's 9 o'clock, you order McDonald's. That seems like it would be the easiest thing to order from DoorDash.
Yeah.
But A, that's a super low delivery fee. B, I'm going to go sit in that McDonald's line for an hour because McDonald's
Exactly.
is terrible about that
Yeah.
at that hour, and they also hate to see a DoorDasher, so they're just not having it. And then B, the tip is already going to be reduced because it's going to, match whatever the price of your order is, which is already very cheap because
Yeah.
you're ordering some
Yeah.
fast food. Like, you'll make basically nothing out of that order and work the hardest for
Yeah.
it. It's weird.
That's what I've noticed. Like, whenever I order something from McDonald's late at night, it takes like an hour and a half, which I don't care because I'm sitting here watching a movie,
Yeah.
Like, but for the DoorDasher, they're sitting in the line for an hour. And then I tip them like $2 for my $10 order, and they probably made like $4 for an hour of like. They're not doing much, but they are wasting an hour of their time, Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've always had like more success with like local restaurants, like family-owned
Absolutely.
businesses.
Because that's their business.
Yeah,
Just money that goes to their business makes them happy.
Yeah.
They don't need,
yeah. Like Mikimoto, did you ever pick up from there?
all the time. The one on Carrollton?
Yeah.
They love DoorDash.
They love it. Like you walk in there and it's like 30 people making DoorDash orders, and then there's like some seats over here for anyone who wants to come in and sit down. But it's like it looks like it's majority DoorDash. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make a great amount of money. Yeah. Anyone that lives in the New Orleans area and wants to order food late, order Mikimoto.
Mikimoto's great.
You'll make the Dasher happy, you'll make Mikimoto happy, and you'll get an order that's relatively on time.
They're always quick with it. They're always quick with it.
Not a sponsor.
What else? Do you think it would be beneficial to DoorDash community and even DoorDash itself to have a union, workers union? Or do you think that it's too easy to become a DoorDasher to even unionize it?
That's tough.
Yeah, because it could be extremely beneficial, health insurance, and it could actually become a genuine job, rather than like people just using it to get money on the side. Yeah.
I think an important thing if you're going to establish a union is you need to have a lot of workers all on the same page.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case with the DoorDash or an Uber. I mean, you could attempt, but I mean, Uber doesn't have to stand for it, Uber, DoorDash,
Yeah.
any of them. They don't have to stand for that. There's always going to be more people ready to sign up.
Yeah.
I don't think that would ever work. And even if it did, what would be the benefits you would ask for? Like, people are on so different pages and they don't have a work environment they come into and see, Joe Bag of Donuts every day. They don't have coworkers. They don't
Yeah.
have a community.
Yeah.
It would.
That makes sense. It's not as, yeah. I do think Uber drivers. Have you ever driven Uber or no? Like,
Yeah, I briefly had an Uber account
Like, pick people
at the
up?
beginning of the pandemic, so way long ago.
Yeah.
And thing is, that was when another moment I was just scrambling for cash. I
Yeah.
couldn't get any real jobs, and the thing is, I only ever did a few rides because it dried up so quickly with COVID.
Yeah.
So
But I feel like Uber would. I feel like Uber drivers make more money because they actually like interact with the person. Someone might really like them if they're cool and talk to them a bunch, and then good tip or 5-star review, and then they get more rides or
Yeah.
You know.
you've
It's-
definitely got a better shot,
Yeah.
at least at getting a better tip.
Yeah.
Having someone look you in the face and tip you, gives them a lot more incentive to actually tip you.
Yeah. What else? What else? What else?
Honestly, though, if you want to try and make a living out of it, do a driving service over a food delivery service.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's, like you said, it's not as much like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Waiter. No one, I don't think. I mean, majority of people, I don't think are on there for long term.
No.
Like, I don't think anyone is DoorDashing 12 hours a day, every day, to pay their bills and feed their families. And they could be, maybe.
But at that point, go work at Take 5 Oil.
Yeah.
Get a benefit or two.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. Are there like, I know Uber. You have to have a certain car, past like that's new enough. Is it the same way for DoorDash? You have to have a newish
No.
car. No.
Surprisingly.
Whatever car.
Actually, that's not true. I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I know my car was up to standard,
Okay.
but they definitely did ask for my information.
Yeah. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2019 Honda Civic.
Okay.
Um,
So newish. So it's not.
Newish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I would be willing to bet those really probably only apply to driving services.
So,
where you're
like
going to have
Uber,
people in the
where
car.
They could be at risk of like car breaking down, anything.
And Uber won't tell you where you're going until you've accepted the order. So, for all you know, you could be doing a very long
Yeah.
drive. You could be doing a drive that requires a car that's up to snuff. You could be headed from downtown to uptown, vice versa.
Yeah.
You could be taking someone to Metairie. You never know.
Yeah, I know. So, a lot of times, when multiple people order from one restaurant, are you picking up multiple orders?
You can.
Okay, because I feel like that'd be an extra little way to like beef up the price a little bit more and make a little bit more money.
Yeah. A smart thing DoorDash will do is when it starts to receive orders, it'll up the delivery fee.
Yeah.
So it'll give drivers, it'll say, hey, $2 more.
Yeah.
Go DoorDash right now. And it'll send you a little text. And when you're in line, it will offer you, if you've already accepted an order, hey, another order just came up for this exact place. If you want to stick around, make the loop again if you're in a drive-thru, or stay a little longer inside, you can pick up both. Here's the order, you should take them in.
Yeah. That's annoying for the person receiving the food.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because then
Customer number one gets the order a little slower.
they started doing priority delivery, so you can pay an extra $2 if you get your delivery dropped off first. But I've noticed a lot of times it doesn't mean that there's two orders happening. You can pay it, and then that guy only has to drop off one order. He doesn't have multiple orders from the same store. So.
Yeah, it doesn't do that based on the metric of whether it thinks it can get to you faster or not.
Yeah.
It's almost like a scam, basically. Yeah. It's just going to say, hey, do you want to throw extra money at this and hope it gets there faster? Because really, the person driving is just at the mercy of the restaurant they're at. So McDonald's could be having a bad night. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
It's fine. You're good.
They don't care if your DoorDasher got paid $2 extra to pick up this order faster. They're gonna give it to you the exact same pace.
That's one thing in New Orleans. The fast food restaurants are notorious for just being slow. Like, have you ever been to Popeyes in New Orleans? You don't.
Man,
you don't go to them anymore.
Don't even try to order DoorDash from Popeyes.
Right.
If I see a Popeyes order on DoorDash, I don't pick it up.
Yeah.
I'm not accepting
it's insane.
it. I'm
It's
gonna
like,
get mistreated. They're gonna tip badly because it's slow.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be upset. And there's just no point to it.
Yeah. No, that's what's crazy. Is like, no matter, like, it's convenient because you don't have to sit in the line. but it's still inconvenient. Like it's not.
Yeah. You got to be prepared. Hour 30 at least for
And
that
what
order.
DoorDasher
Maybe an hour.
would do that? That's what blows my mind is like, if I was gonna get paid $4 for this pickup, I would not sit there because you can cancel at any time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
At any time.
I mean, I could understand if someone. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. But.
Got to be really dedicated.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times, majority of people just order from those places. There's not as many orders for like smaller restaurants, like.
Yeah, definitely the later it gets, the more
later it gets.
people are likely to order from a fast food.
What's left open, yeah.
But yeah, that's what's so interesting is because that's also the worst time to order from those fast food places. But, I guess if you're drunk, what's an hour and a half?
True. Let's see. Did you ever have any problems with like carjackings? Like, were you ever afraid of like? Okay, so a big thing is like a lot of DoorDashers will get out of their car, leave their car running as they run up and put their food down.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying to me because, I mean, we're in New Orleans. You can just hop in the car, drive off, and probably not get caught. So, did that ever like freak you out?
Yes.
Yeah.
I made it a point to turn my car off and to park a little bit away for that reason, and because if I do finally get the chance to just leave it at someone's door, I want to be able to sprint and get away and not have to interact, enjoy the fact. But yeah, there were plenty of times where I would pull up in an area where I hadn't been before and be like, oof, kind of wish I didn't accept this order.
Yeah.
Because, you don't really get a good idea of where you're going until it's already in motion and you're headed there.
Especially, you're not New Orleans, like you didn't grow up here. So, like, you don't really know the bad areas.
Exactly. I'm only so savvy.
Exactly. So when you get there, it's like, oh shit, like, obviously you don't really, the East isn't the greatest place to be leaving your car on but there's a lot of other areas that aren't as like, obvious that are still sketchy. So
right.
I know
It'll
that's a
just
big thing.
say the address too. You don't actually.
It won't like give you a map.
You can if you want to go in there. Well, of course you can take the address, put it in a map and look it up. But it's not showing you on the map until it's time to deliver. So if you're in a rhythm, you really go on. You're like, okay, great, Mikimoto. It's going to whatever address. I don't recognize it. Cool. I'm headed to Mikimoto. I've got the order. Yeah. Now where am I going? And then it tells me, oh, by the way, you're 15 minutes into Mid City. I'm like, darn. Like, guess I got to do it now.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because at that point, how much gas are you using? It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely have to think about that too. That's a crazy thing that I had only somewhat taken into consideration. Which is, you could end up driving a lot longer for an order that's cheaper, just because those, obviously those two will never correspond. Yeah. Your fee will not be based on how far it is, unfortunately. So.
Which I think is stupid. I think the further you are from the restaurant, the higher the fee should be. Mm-hmm. That just makes sense, right? That's just like more gas is spent, more work is done.
Yeah. You go into the section of DoorDash that says delivery fees under $2.99. You could find Shake Shack. I order from Shake Shack all the time. That's in Metairie. That's got to be one of the furthest ones I can order from, and yet one of the cheapest delivery fees. That person has to get on the interstate to get to me, at least, or maybe Jefferson Highway.
It's a solid 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
From Metairie to Uptown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if there's no traffic and there's no accidents. Yeah. I really wish I was able to see. Let's check.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.